So what I talked about earlier were Donkey Kong Country glitches, like the first game, not the third. Well, it says on the wiki here that it only lists 2 glitches for this game. I'm pretty sure there are a lot more glitches than that. But first of all, the annoying thing about this level is that it reverses your controls. That's especially annoying when you jump out of the purple liquid, because then your controls go back to normal while you're in the air. So you have to adjust to that and hold the opposite direction that you'd expect, which is disorienting. It's not so bad that the controls are reversed underwater. It's easy to adjust to. The only big problem is that, as usual with these underwater stages, your sprite is so big that you're better off going slow and careful because it's really easy to swim into something. The excuse for the underwater controls being reversed is supposed to be that you're swimming in a purple poisonous liquid, but you'd think that if anything that would just be a liquid that you can't swim in because falling into it will, like, hurt you and eventually kill you. And you'd think that the controls being reversed would be the least of your characters' problems. That they would have their lifespan severely decreased, that they would have to go to the hospital for stuff, that they would be in no condition whatsoever to fight the final boss after this level. So it's really just a stupid excuse for a gimmick. It'd make more sense if a wizard reversed their controls with magic. It's especially annoying to have the controls reversed when you're swimming with the... when you're controlling this big character. Because this is the biggest character of all. And like you're just mashing the Y button to make sure that whenever you run into an enemy you damage it. And it's especially annoying that you have to collect the medal at the end of the bonus game to complete it. It's so stupid that you don't just get the medal the minute that you defeat all the enemies. Normally it's a nitpick, but in when you're in such a big area, of course you're not gonna know where it's gonna spawn. No, these enemies are pretty easy. Now I was just thinking of the enemies that constantly open and then close. Now, I guess the ones that open and close faster would... yeah, they're harder to kill. Like, the ones that... like, they all look exactly the same. There's 2 varieties of them, though. Some of them just open and close so fast that it doesn't look like it's ever safe to attack them. And there are other ones that are slower, so it's easier to attack them. It would have made more sense to make them look a different color. But anyways, this is an alright level. It's much more fun to actually be able to defeat the enemies, obviously. Because that's the annoying thing about the swimming levels, that you're defenseless against all the enemies, and it's just about avoiding them. But it's just especially annoying to have to deal with reverse controls when you're controlling a character that you're constantly mashing the Y button with to move forwards. Because, well, you still have to deal with up and down. And look at how, see, my character's sprite is so big, you can just barely squeeze past those enemies. Like, it seems unfair to have the enemies be so close together. Like, this game really would have benefited from the Fire Flower, but instead, it really feels like it's missing. Like, see, this is especially annoying part. You can just barely avoid that red fish, and I actually held down the run button there, because I was hoping it would make me faster, and I guess it did. Like, logically, this enemy is so stupid. It has no reason to be just moving back and forth in such a small area. Logically, it should, if it's meant to kill you, it should just always be running after you. Of course, that would be annoying. And I'm pretty sure it's faster than you are. So if it was always running after you, wouldn't it just catch up with you and kill you? But maybe it's not faster, I don't know. But of course, that's a logical question in every platformer. Like, logically, why don't the enemies all run after you? Because I have no idea how to get that stupid DK coin. Like, because there's enemies that just, like, stay in one tiny area and, like, move back and forth all the time, it comes off less like they were hired by the bad guy to kill you, and more like they're just regular natives who are just innocent civilians who are just doing their own thing. Like they're just members of the wildlife, and you're just killing them when they're not even trying to attack you. Anyways, like, this is the easiest part of the fight. It'll kill you at first because it actually changes up its pattern from the last time you fought an enemy like it. It goes down to the center, and then it goes down on the leftmost part. Then it goes down a lot more. So there's a lot less opportunities. Like the fire is on the ground a lot more. All you have to do though is, well, like, I think it's better to be playing as Kitty for this boss fight in general, actually. You just hit the head of the machine with the barrel. So, like, you have to wait for it to come closer to you. Like it's actually pretty simple. Like, obviously, you'll defeat this part of the boss a lot faster after you've died to the real boss after this. And have to go back to do this again. But yeah, like, this is easily the most boring part of the fight. Like, this whole green, like, robot phase. Like, you're just sitting there and waiting. And like, when the missiles come closest to you, you jump. But for the most part, it's stupid enough to think it's a good idea to not even try to aim for you until the last missiles. You think that it would just fire at your location immediately. It doesn't really look like you're close enough to the boss that you'll be able to attack it with the barrel on the second hit, but apparently you can. I had no respect for the dialogue here, because, like, he's just a one-dimensional villain. We never learn why he's evil. Like he's not a realistic character at all. Like, I don't care about the Scooby-Doo reference in this dialogue. I just don't know why the dialogue had to drag on so long there. And every single time you fight the boss, you have to... Yeah. Like, every time you fight the boss, after you've gotten game over, you have to sit through that dialogue again. Something that's actually merciful about this boss is that if you lose your life, then it just starts you right after you defeated the green robot thing. But if you get a game over, then you still have to beat that giant robot again. Like, why would they waste your time? What really sucks about this boss and makes it unbearable to me is that you can only damage it by throwing a barrel at his backpack. His backpack, of all things! You would think the backpack would be the part of the boss that's invincible. And look, I clearly dropped something on it, so you think that would damage him, but it doesn't! This is why this boss fight is complete horse shit. It's way too precise. You'd think that dropping a barrel on his head would damage him, but it doesn't. It's just ridiculously precise. It's stupid. I took, like, over 13 minutes on this boss. I must have spent a half an hour on this part. It's ridiculous. Like, I feel like this is a boss where if you get hit, you might as well give up, because you're gonna need all the hit points you can get. It's nice of it to give you a DK barrel after you defeat the green robot thing, but if they're handing out DK barrels, then they should have done it more often. So, there's a glitch in this game where you can lose life and continue. So go to the coin dozer clamber. Oh, like, you know, the one that the enemies keep knocking you into the pits. Stay at the right of the bazooka near the coin. Throw Dixie above the bazooka's cannon, making her hop and fall into the abyss. You can move Dixie, and after this, Kitty will appear. And in a lot of levels, it's actually possible to attack coin even with a DK coin in front of it. Grab a steel barrel and take it to a place where coin is not visible on the screen, and throw it in coin's direction. You need to move after the steel barrel as soon as it rolls off screen, and then the steel barrel will defeat coin. But yeah, this boss sucks because you have to attack its backpack specifically. And then you get to this part, where the barrel only shows up here on the right side. Like, this boss would be so much more merciful if every single time you hung on one of these things, it always summoned a barrel. But instead, you'll just be grabbing onto the handles over and over and over again, wishing that it summoned a barrel, but it doesn't. Like, there are multiple times where I died on this phase because I jumped into the electricity on the left side of the screen, because I was expecting there to be a platform with a barrel there, because now see here there's one. You'd think that it would be there from the start, like as soon as the electricity shows up. Like, he's such an idiot here. Like, you'd think that K. Rool would just go all the way to the left. At least by this point, he's smart enough that you have to actually be ducking to avoid him, like when you're on the platform that's moving. But he still doesn't go all the way to the left. So fortunately, you're still able to get to the platform with the barrel on it. This part of the boss fight really drags out. Like, he's easily the stupidest here because he just moves around. He knows that the backpack is his weak spot, and he still moves away with the backpack right in front of him. The earlier phase of the boss fight is definitely the hardest part. Like, I hate how he bounces all over the place when he gets hit. If you're holding the barrel in front of you as Kitty and you walk into him, he'll actually bounce into you and get you hurt. And so you have to immediately go to the right and hope that you don't get hurt. But this part of the boss is surprisingly easy. It takes so long of dying over and over just to get to that part. Bottom line is, that was a horrible final boss, and not a good way to end a surprisingly good game. Obviously, I sped up the credits because it takes way too long. Like, I don't know why it wastes all that time telling you what the names of the enemies are. It's a credit sequence. The point is to credit the people who made the game. Why would they think this is a good idea? Why would they put this before they tell you who made the game? So that's why I'm speeding it up. Like, I thought this game would be a lot harder than it actually was. Because, like, I think this is sort of the black sheep of the Donkey Kong Country series. Like, according to fans. But I was actually really impressed. Like, it has a genuinely good difficulty curve. Like, the second game is way too difficult. It's actually really frustrating. Yeah, like, I like playing as Dixie, I like flying. I think it's really convenient to have that double jump. I wish Kitty wasn't so big. But yeah, it's a good game. I think it could have really benefited from having more access to the blue swordfish when you're underwater, instead of you always being completely helpless against the sea creatures. The worlds don't seem like they have a specific memorable theme to them, because, like, it's not like there's a world that's entirely devoted to ice, for example. Like, there's a ice level in the first world of the game, so the worlds blend together in terms of theme. Sure, they have variety in the worlds, like in the levels, but like, the levels are fun. They're tense and engaging, but I don't know. I think it's better to have every world have a specific theme to it, because that means it's more memorable. Like, as a world. Like, it's obvious that the Coin Dozer world is in the last world of the game, but generally you're not going to know what exact world the level is in by memory. My biggest problem with the game is the boss fights. Sure, they're interesting, but a lot of them you will die a lot to when first getting used to them and learning how to beat them easily. Like, especially the later on ones. They're really, it's really hard to surmount them, and you have to beat them to beat all the levels. Like, especially the big clam one. I also hate the toboggan levels.